So if you're one of the many people who has started to benefit from meditation for memory improvement, congratulations. That's a wonderful thing. But you might also be wondering, what else is meditation good for? Well, there's at least 3 things. There's many things, but there's at least 3 that are super powerful, and they're coming right up. Hey there, this is Anthony Metivier from magneticmemorymethod.com. Look, if you're not subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss anything, and come visit me at magneticmemorymethod.com because it is the website devoted to giving you every possible advantage when it comes to not only learning and remembering things, but also preserving your brain health and the mind health that comes with having an improved memory. It's really powerful stuff. So meditation, we talked about it before on this channel, and I hope that you've gotten great value from it. I know it's a strange topic because a lot of people think meditation means having no thoughts and yada yada yada. It's not really about that. It's about having focus and clarity and concentration, so you can be anywhere in the world and laser focused on whatever it is that you're doing and remembering things. But there are a number of other benefits that I found so super powerful and well worth pursuing, and I wish that I had pursued them much sooner, even though I was quite fortunate in life to have won the meditation lottery and gotten into it quite early. Here's the first thing. It really helps you destroy negative thoughts. Not only destroy them, but actually recognize them as they're happening. Go, hold on, wait a second, get lost, bye-bye, ciao, choose, like in any language that you know. And all the languages that you know, you could just say adios and get rid of that stuff because it's really bad and it's totally not necessary. And it is suffering that we could all do without. And here's the thing, the memory advantage, well, when you're not lost in a world of negative thoughts, then you're more present. You're paying more attention to the things around you, the things that you might want to memorize. Then you have more time, more of a chance to grab it, memorize it, and then remember it. So really powerful for that alone. So just getting rid of negative thoughts and literally destroying them. And by destroying them, you know, one of the things you're doing in meditation, and there's some stories and metaphors about this, is you're polishing the mind. You're cleaning it. You're turning it into something that is so clean that it becomes slippery, and the negative thought comes and then whew, it's out of there. Boom, like that. So it's really something about making your mind slippery in some sense, or shiny so that things can't stick to it, or they bounce off, or whatever metaphors work for you. Think about the metaphors of meditation and what you can do to get more power out of what meditation means for you by giving it some associative metaphors, which are also good for practicing memory techniques, because when you can learn to associate one thing with another, it instantly becomes more memorable. And then of course you wrap around all of the magnetic modes, so you give it a visual character, like a bowl, right? Is a physical characteristic, you're polishing it. Then I talked about thoughts not sticking to it, which is a kinesthetic, physical sort of sensation. You could add a sound element, ping, right? That's a auditory element and so forth. All these things are going to help you memorize more. Maybe there's a smell involved, maybe there's a taste, maybe there's just the conceptual. And then of course the bowl has a space, and so now you have all the magnetic modes working for you. Just do that. That is in itself kind of meditative and will help you take negative thoughts and get rid of them, because you can use all those magnetic modes we just talked about to run any negative thought through and say, okay, now I've understood you in this full spectrum of possible perceptive modes, now get lost, right? And the more you pay attention to it, the more you can do that. So you really are destroying them. You're grading them down. You're breaking them down. You're dispelling them one piece at a time and getting them gone. Because when things are smaller, they're easier to blow away like dust. Gone. Beautiful. So it's like mental magic in some sense, right? You're making it disappear. The second thing is that you're much more equipped to have genuine, legitimate, no self-deception, no BS, positive thoughts, right? Because you're tuned into the world, and you can just, I was just walking down the street here, and I was doing my little satanama thing called Kirtan Kriya, satanama. Had to do it with one hand because I had my bottle of water in one hand here. And just, you know, satanama, just to be in the world, to pay attention, to be located in the sense of time right now, the nowness of now. And the little bit of singing does that with the touch here. And I'm just looking at concrete and thinking, holy crap, this is so amazing. This is the most amazing concrete in the world. And of course it is, right? Because it's the concrete that's right there right now. And there's little patterns in it. you know, one of the things about meditation is like you're on drugs all the time, but good drugs, your own drugs, and your brain actually is producing drugs that you kind of get addicted to. So once you can get into meditation, you become a positive addict in some sense, because they're just amazing drugs that your brain is producing, and it wants to produce. It actually wants to not be in the negative thoughts. It wants to be in the positive thoughts and all the chemicals that positive thoughts can produce and so forth. I'm not going to go into all the science of this, but there does seem to be some very, very powerful science about that. And one of the bloggers, authors, PhD, professional people who's looked at this very intensely, presented a lot of research, is Gary Weber. So link down below about that. Check it out, go into the science if it helps you. Some people, the science is just a deviation from actual practicing of meditation and positive thinking. For other people, it actually gives them insights. Like for myself, gives me deep insights, guides the practice, find new ways to practice better, to practice more, to get more out of the practice. But in any case, the point is that there's actually a chemical relationship here, and you can create more of those positive chemicals by actually being present and then having positive thoughts about how amazing things like this tree are, or maybe that sign is going to be particularly fascinating. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, I know, but it's true. It's just, you just start to be very grateful for all the amazing things. Now the sun's coming, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful, and there's a dude over there, he's like doing pull-ups, and there's some people playing basketball down there, and there's a highway, and it's all so surreal and amazing, and the clouds, and it was raining earlier, and my umbrella got all messed up, and it's just like being in a dream all the time, and knowing you're in the dream, and just feeling amazing. So it creates positivity, undeniable positivity. And yeah, some people will just be like, yeah, you're super positive, man, just cut out the performance and blah, blah, blah. But it's not a performance, that's the hilarious thing. I literally feel a little bit like when I was 14, doing drugs all the time, except for there's no negative payback, there's no days and weeks of depression afterwards, there's no having to hide anything or anything like that, just pure positivity that seems to grow and grow over time. It's so incredible. So that's the second thing. So we have like the destruction of negative thoughts, we have the actual awareness of the positivity around you, which you turn into positive thoughts. And the third thing is really being able to just enjoy the ride, you know, because we are on a ride. We are inside these bodies that we're in for whatever reason that we're in them, and we are yanked around all the time by our reactions to things that we can't necessarily have control over because we're biological units. And so a negative thing happens, it's going to create chemicals in the brain, and you're going to get yanked along for the ride. But meditation creates this kind of buffer around you. It's almost like you're in a different time zone, or you're somehow out of sync with the present moment, even though you're enjoying the present moment more. I can't exactly explain it. Maybe we can come up with some more metaphors for it. But it really is as if you're in the future of yourself. You're somehow ahead of the gap, ahead of the curve. And you've got this buffer zone. And so when a negative thing happens, or you even say a negative thing and you observe yourself having said it, you could stop. You can catch yourself. And you can really, really have a soft experience, much, much softer than ever before. And you're really, really enjoying the ride, because you got this ironic stance to it. You're like, ha 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 ha. There's that human psychology again, doing its human psychology dumb thing that it does. Whatever. And you know, it happens. I'm very, very now happy with meditation practice and so forth, but I still have these things where these thoughts will come, or I'll feel embarrassed. The ego just takes over for a while. It just yanks me along for a ride, and then I just got to enjoy the ride. And I can enjoy the ride. That's the whole thing about it. And it's pretty remarkable, actually, because even though I'm not always enjoying the ride as such, I'm able to see it as a ride, and then have an ironic stance from it and be like, ah, this too shall pass. And it does. And then you look back at it and you think, what a bizarre mind movie that was. Thank goodness that I was able to recognize it as a mind movie at the time. Yes, it kind of graded my experience, kind of made that experience not as profound as it could have been, but at least I had this kind of softness to it and this buffer zone, unlike before where 100% lost in it, total pain, total suffering, reacting in bad ways that made it worse, and worse and worse. And it's just not a happy thing. And I'm so glad to be free of that. And I have a feeling that with more practice of meditation, this will diminish more and more over time, and things will get softer and softer and softer. And the time spent with the ego yanking me along a ride that I don't want to be on will be less and less and less. The other thing too about being very observant, and how that being more observant and more present helps you in this regard in terms of enjoying the ride, is that your ego, or my ego, has done this to myself. It just did this yesterday actually. It was misremembering. It was telling me a misremembered story of what happened and punishing me for things that never actually happened. And the beauty of it is, I know that it never actually happened because it was recorded. So the concrete story here is I gave a podcast interview. No one has ever tested me on one of these podcast interviews. And I was really glad that the person did, because he threw a bunch of names at me, which I then needed to recall at the end of the interview. And what ended up happening is the thing that I really just hate in everyday life when I'm doing my own exercises is, and this happens a lot in competition, a lot of people think that everything needs to be recalled in order, but sometimes you're like, okay, that's not totally clear right now, I'm gonna hold that, finish the sequence and come back to it. That's what I did. I was recalling all the names. The third name for some reason was a little bit obscure to me, but I went through all the names, and then I came back to the first one. I said, you know what, I don't know exactly why. This person knows me, knows my aversion to religious stuff, and he said, it's probably the religious thing, right? And I said, no, don't help me, don't help me, don't help me. And I was like, but then it was like Mary, right? I said, yeah, it was Mary. And I said, oh, I wish you wouldn't have helped me. And it's just so hilarious, because that's exactly what happened. It's on the recording. But my mind, my ego, was starting to tell a completely different story. It was telling a story that was exactly 100, not exactly, but it was 100% false to what actually happened in that moment. This is insanity. It's insanity, but I knew that it was happening, and the reason that I was so certain that I knew it was happening was not because of the recording. I've never actually gone back and listened to the recording. I just know the recording is there. But my ego was telling me a different story because it wanted to punish. It wanted to create pain. It wanted suffering for whatever reasons that egos do this. I don't know why. And I knew it was happening, and I was able to just be like, yeah, there you are. Get lost. And it was just, I mean, I think maybe the Catholic sense of, speaking of Mary, the Catholic sense of needing to go and confess your sins and so forth, maybe that evolved because of something like this. And maybe I'm confessing now. I don't know. But the whole point is that it was just bizarre, because it was telling me that I made a mistake in my thing. But I actually didn't make a mistake. I got it, but he gave me a clue. And this happens with Chinese all the time with my wife, is I'm like, don't correct me, let the memory techniques do the work first. And I get it without the help of correction or clues or anything like that. But people tend to want you to help you fill in the blanks, which is what happened here. But then my mind told a different story, as if I'd made a mistake. But I hadn't made a mistake. I hadn't made a mistake at all. But the ego took over. It's an example of the chemicals and so forth yanking me, taking me along for a ride. The whole time I said, just enjoy this. Try to. Don't get carried away with it, because it's not even telling you the truth. It's not telling you the truth at all. So I was able to actually enjoy the ride. It's just the stupidest ride in the world. It's like a ride at Disney that you don't exactly want to be on, but you know, your niece or your nephew or your cousin or your uncle or your sister or your brother or your girlfriend or whoever it is that you want to please by going on that ride, you just go on it and you're like, yeah, that was okay after all, you know, it wasn't so bad. And you just kind of put up with it until the ride is over, you get off the ride and you can evaluate things differently. Anyway, these are the benefits that I've experienced from memory improvement that aren't directly related to memory, but they certainly have helped improve memory too, now that I get into it and think about it. And it's really, really profound. So making sure that negative thoughts are destroyed, having positive thoughts, and then helping you just enjoy the ride no matter what. Because you tend, I guess the other way to say enjoy the ride is you tend to like shave off or eliminate the sense of likes and dislikes. It's not about whether you like it or dislike what happened. It's just that you become aware that you have a bunch of likes and dislikes, and then you don't get caught up in them. So I hope that helps you. I hope that you enjoy. Hit that thumbs up if you like this video. Get subscribed if you're not already subscribed. Check out the links below, some stuff about meditation. and the things that I've learned from Gary Weber on his channel, Sata Nama, and all that. And I think you're really going to enjoy what it does for you if you're not already on the ride. And I hope you'll really consider taking some memory training. I got a free course for you at magneticmemorymethod.com/YT. Check that out. Get registered. Come visit me at magneticmemorymethod.com. This has been Anthony Metivier. Until we speak again, keep yourself magnetic.